difficult to know where to even begin, so let's just start where the game does. Crimson Desert's introduction fails on pretty much every level. It starts by somberly paying respects to a character we've never seen, and spoiler alert, will never come up again. Then we go inside, and two characters we don't know are being pissy with each other for reasons that aren't really clear.
No one's stopping you. Now shut up and eat.
We're just gonna sit here sipping this pig swill. I'd rather eat a black bear's
Hey!
bleed.
You looking to get some manners beaten into you? You better fucking pick that up.
Or what, Jan? You gonna make me?
Fine. That's enough.
Forget it.
Then someone busts through the door saying there's an attack, and some guy named Gian is supposedly dead. And after a strange monologue explaining the situation from the protagonist, you go outside to fight the black bears.
Gian has fallen. And with the great leader's death, our land, Pelun, once unified, has been plunged into chaos. And now, a bloody battle unfolds between the Greymanes, who fight to uphold his will, and the Black Bear forces that seek to set it aflame.
The game teaches you how to attack, block, dodge, and do a big slam. There are 3 little vignettes where the 3 characters that matter are having a hard time, and after you visit all 3, a guy named Myrden shows up and kills you.
What's that? Got something to say? Go on then. Out with it. I'm all ears. Well, you had your chance. Let this be a lesson to all you wolf whelps.
Then you wake up on a sky island. You get some more tutorials for the game's insane controls. Then you wake up on a riverbank with some guy saying he fished you up earlier. Apparently there was some sort of time skip. He says you ought to stop by the Hernan Tavern. A couple bandits and a horse ride later, you arrive in Hernan. Learning in progress, broom. A broom is a tool used to tidy up. Once you get to the tavern, you do some arm wrestling. Then the game tells you to give money to a specific beggar. Turns out that beggar was just testing you to see if you're a good person. He hands you a key and teleports away. 2 more people basically do the same thing where they ask for your help with something trivial and teleport away. Eventually, the quest log on the left side of your screen ordains that you go into the castle, and for whatever reason, there's a portal to the abyss there. Some more puzzles and exposition later, you get the glide ability and the green light to start fucking around.
The world is yours to explore.
I don't like to do summaries, but it does help illustrate the point that Crimson Desert is a game where things just happen and Cliff just kind of shrugs and agrees to help. It's not a story so much as it's just conversations and events stitched together by convenience. Don't expect any emotional resonance or character development. It's funny, actually, I don't think there is a single character who ever changes over the course of the entire game. Cliff is a piece of cardboard whose only defining traits are being good at everything and being humble. In that order, probably.
I've been waiting for you. How did things go at the quarry? Did you handle it?
Yes.
Yes.
I knew I was right to trust you. This deed I shall not forget.
Hey, you expecting anyone?
I don't think so.
You the courier we're waiting on?
Yes.
Yes.
Oi! You waiting for a letter? Looks like you got one.
Have you found it? Is there truly a concealed room?
Yes.
Just as I
Yes.
thought. He's still lost in his delusions.
Cedric had barricaded himself in there, shaking like a leaf.
Jan is honestly my favorite. He's just a violent drunk who's always scheming.
What took you so long?
That cheat you mentioned. Didn't see him.
Hold on. Don't tell me you've won.
I didn't lose.
Fucking hell. I'd have busted the doors down to see that. What a stroke of luck. How's your first win feel, huh? We should celebrate with a drink. I mean, naturally, you're buying.
Why don't you just say you want a drink?
Naira's a bitch, but in a funny way.
Just under the wheels.
Jan, what the hell is this? It's just a pile of rubbish. It's not worth a single coin. Are you sure you got the right wagon?
What? You're just lying through your teeth to keep all the good stuff.
What, you think I'm you? Go on, check it yourself, you twat.
And Unka is just the stoic warrior type.
Sitting and listening to the river's flow. It helps me relax.
Not many get to see this side of you.
Not many live long enough to. Still, it's good to have a place to reflect, to recenter, clear out the noise. Think hard, and you'll know where to find yours.
These characters aren't especially well developed, well, except for maybe Yan. There's technically other characters, but they aren't people so much as they're just human-shaped props.
You know what else matters? Eating proper meals. 3 times a day, isn't that right? And of course, finding the rest of our comrades. What'd you say?
Some of us have already reunited.
You're serious? Where is everyone?
None of them move the needle, and gun to my head, I swear on everything, I cannot name more than like Dwayne, Andrew, and Balder. Dwayne and Andrew I can only remember because they're given a short-lived spotlight in the main story. Balder I can remember because he's in one of the only actually good scenes in the whole game. Good, relative.
We're seeking out other Greymanes. Found a few already.
Really? Let's go see them.
I'm not sure I can. What do you mean, Ryan? Every night I see the faces I failed to save. Faces soaked in blood, screaming in agony. Am I just supposed to go on living, knowing that I couldn't save a single one?
I see them too. Daily, as do I.
And I.
Right. It can't have been easy for any of us.
But we can't close our eyes and pretend. Every one of us still breathing owes them a debt. And we pay that debt with a life well lived. That's what I believe.
Cliff actually getting a character moment? Holy shit.
Those words. More than you know.
Cliff
Come on,
believes something.
Let's go. We'll carry on together
This is the
best as we
first
can.
time Cliff has like
Aye.
stated an opinion or conviction.
Well, that's it then. Let us be on our way.
How many hours in am I? 80? Yan, Naira, and Unka get most of the screen time, but they don't get as much as you'd think. Even your mysterious celestial benefactors, Alustin and White Crow, are barely in the story, and their significance to the overall plot is tenuous at best. As far as antagonists go, almost every boss fight is a villain that you see exactly once and kill right there on the spot. There's not enough time to develop these villains as characters, to learn why they're doing what they're doing, or even to learn why you should want to kill them. You just walk into the boss arena, a dude in cool-looking armor says something a little menacing, and then you kill him.
Well now, the Greymane that's been meddling in my affairs has saved me the trouble of seeking him out.
You're a hard one to kill, Greymane. Still aiding that lout, Stefan Lanford. So you've come here to meet your end?
No! Quickly! Tend to my wounds!
Wait! Kimmy! Isn't over yet!
You can read his lore tab after the fact if you want, I guess, but that really doesn't hit the same. The only exception to this that kind of illustrates the point is the Reed Devil, because he gets a lot of build-up with a tragic backstory and everything. I saw this dude's family before we fought.
Mother, it wasn't me. In this state, how could I have done it? Phil, don't touch me. Stay back.
I told you to stay quiet in your room. If you crawl out to cause a scene.
I couldn't bear any longer. I'm sick of this. Take this and get out of my sight.
You even fight him more than once. Somehow this game is over 100 hours long, but there's no time to develop its villains? What do you mean? It just doesn't make sense. Mjordan kinda has something going on, but during your rematch you get knocked out and you don't see him again until the very end of the game, where it's pretty clear that Mjordan isn't the one driving anymore.
And with it, I will make you mine.
The whole story is like this. It's just things happening and then immediately getting resolved or dropped. There's not enough time for anything to be developed over more than a few minutes because we gotta get to the next plot beat.
Despite the weight you've carried, and how heavy those burdens were, despite enduring so much in silence, you must have been lonely. And yet, you never stopped moving forward. You were never wrong. Every path you chose was the right one. So no matter what comes, never lose yourself.
I've never played a game before that says so much and does so little. Something something humility, something something balance, something something power?
Justice is wrought by the hands of the strong! That is the truth of this world!
True strength. Can only come from humility.
Interesting. Like, we're not even on the level where we can talk about themes because we failed so much earlier than that. At a certain point, you have to ask, why bother? Not us bothering to play, go a level deeper. Why did Pearl Abyss even bother to make this story if they're gonna half-ass it so bad? Cliff's voice actor apparently doesn't even know what's going on. Not making a 100-hour story was definitely an option. You could have done that.
Sounds sorrowful.
Okay.
Yes. It calls from the hilltop fort. My sister Wusa is of the Wudo school. She commands the wind and rain. The wind can always find its master. Yet it carries the scent of blood and steel. I fear something terrible is happening. Please, you must help her.
Everything happens. Nothing happens. There's a million characters and none of them matter. You have a voiced protagonist with no internality. What are we doing here? One of the first things you'll notice when playing this game is the wacky control scheme. Right bumper and right trigger are your light and heavy attacks, and B is your dodge. So far so good, that's just a Souls game. Y is a dedicated button for unarmed attacks, even if you have a weapon equipped, and if you don't, the bumper and trigger give you even more different unarmed attacks. That's a little weird, but okay. X is jump, and tapping A is how you run, which is basically like GTA or Red Dead. Double jump is double tapping X, but for some reason it only seems to work if you're close to the ground. You can't double jump during the apex of your jump, nor when jumping off a ledge, which are actually exactly the times when you want to double jump most. Making this even worse, pressing X in the air also activates your glide, so be prepared to accidentally glide when you want to double jump and vice versa. It's going to happen constantly. Grapple is pressing X and A, but since running was tapping A and jumping was pressing X, it's extremely easy to accidentally press both when you're trying to, run and jump. Pressing both triggers is how you do a heavy bow shot, but it's also how you use the active ability from an equipped item. Clicking in and holding down the left stick aims your grapple arm, letting it go throws it out. Holding down left bumper is a sort of look mode that makes it easier to aim at and pick up or interact with things. Pressing X while in the aim mode at a piece of ground that's close to you will do a precision jump to that point, but pressing X is also how you pick things up. Pressing both bumpers, but only holding down the left one, will have you raise your weapon, and if you then press and hold the right bumper again, you'll reflect the sunlight off your weapon. Honestly, we could do this all day. Suffice it to say, the game's control scheme is kind of batshit insane. It's obvious that a major reason that it's like this at all is just because they wanted to cram so many different moves and actions onto a controller with like only 16 buttons. This is what you get when the ideas guy makes a game and nobody gets to tell him no. Somebody at some point should have said, no, that sounds cool, Tom, but fitting it in would make the controls fucked up. They probably should have said that a couple times. You do eventually get used to it, but that's a testament to the human brain, not to the design of this game's controls. And either way, the input overlapping issues are going to plague you for the entire playthrough because they put way too many things on the same button, and there's just no way for the game to accurately predict which one you want to do at any given moment. Bro, what is this? If anyone tells you this game has good combat, they are lying to you and themselves. It's not bad, it can even look kind of cool sometimes, but flashy animations and particle effects do not a good combat system make. It's extremely spammy and ironically very simple despite the unnecessarily long move list. Yeah, there's light attacks, heavy attacks, throws, grapples, stabs, cleaves, so on, but there's rarely anything that pushes you to do anything in particular other than what is just gonna hit the most enemies or do the most damage. In regular fights, there's often a comically large amount of enemies on screen that are all trying to hit you at the same time, so AoE spam is pretty much your only choice. There's a few different weapon types, but 90% of the moves across all of them are all the same. There's a lot of moves, sure, but the enemy design does almost nothing to make you use them or provoke any changes in your gameplay. The shield enemies come the closest to actually mattering since you can jump over them or grapple them to counter their defense, but that's about it. Regular dudes, shield dudes, and big dudes. That's the three kinds of enemies you'll fight for 95% of the game. That other 5% is flying enemies. The combat design just collapses under the weight of all the shit it simultaneously throws at you. Most combat encounters are either over in seconds or drawn out to the point that you're whittling down a fort's enemy percentage by fractions of a percent per kill. Ironically, these are the only times where I found myself experimenting with the other moves out of sheer boredom. The boss fights are yet more heavy attack spam mixed in with some dodges because you can't interrupt the bosses sometimes. Boss fights are either a cakewalk and over instantly or a slugfest where you're constantly spamming healing items until you get enough hits in. This ain't no Souls, it's no DMC either. It's just your flashy spam versus their flashy spam, and since you can heal at any time on a very short cooldown, even while attacking, if you have enough healing items and revive pills, you're guaranteed to win any fight. And creating those healing items is a constant chore you'll have to keep up with too. I'm buying out every grocer and cooking a bunch of the same food every single time I'm in town, and it takes way longer than it should for how often you're gonna be doing it. Like you could just see from one end of the map to the other. There's no like, oh, there's like a fog, you can't see anything. No, dude, you can just see everything. This is what it would look like. This is crazy. Man, this is good. They know it's good too, because this is taking forever. Some aspects of the game's presentation are seriously impressive, like the draw distance. Looking out on the horizon really does sell that sense of awe and adventure that they want you to feel. I'm not sure I've ever played a game before where you can just look out and see everything with no fog or other trickery to hide the rest of the world from you. Serious props are actually deserved there. Other aspects of the game don't look as good. For one, the indoor lighting is frequently blocky, noisy, and full of artifacts. It's not even like a graphics snob pointing out the inaccuracies in this game's SSD SSAO or whatever, it's just so obviously wrong that you couldn't possibly not notice it. They've done several patches to try to fix a lot of these things, but most of these problems seem like they're here to stay. I can't really tell how intentional it is, but another thing I did notice was that the nighttime brightness varied greatly depending on where you were. Some places were pitch black outside, and some are so bright that you wouldn't even know it was nighttime unless you looked up and saw the stars in the sky. Another issue is basically all the particle effects, especially in combat, make the game incredibly grainy and blurry. I suspect this has something to do with the upscaling, but good luck running the game at native res. On an artistic level, it's not anything you've never seen before. Most of this is just bog standard generic fantasy stuff. The most they ever deviate from that is with the Abyss, which ironically is actually the dimension above the regular world. It's the Sky Islands from Tears of the Kingdom, but the aesthetic is really geometric, full of squares, cubes, straight lines. It's pretty much all flat gray stone, so I can't say that it looks amazing, but it's at least sort of original, at least compared to the rest of the game. So with the game looking pretty good, exploration ought to be at least decent, right? Well, sure enough, it is fun to wander around the world for a while. The natural beauty combined with the draw distances are definitely striking, but beyond the initial spectacle they give, the only thing you'll ever actually find are the puzzle ruins, bandit camps, forts, and a ton of generic loot. The puzzles you stumble onto are fun to figure out, but they only reward you with skill points, which you get tons of by doing basically anything. So if you take the time to do them, you're basically just in it for the love of the game. The one notable exception to that is the elemental magic that you can get by doing some of the Sky Island puzzles, but it's so poorly signaled that you have no idea that you're gonna unlock something after completing that puzzle in particular, nor does it even let you know after completing it that you got it. You're just gonna eventually notice that those nodes on your skill tree are lit up now. The puzzles in this game do not hold your hand, and they're one of my favorite things about the game. I don't suspect most people who play this are going to enjoy the extremely hands-off approach they took with the puzzle design. The puzzles are content to completely stonewall you until you figure them out. Unlike basically everything else in Crimson Desert, they respect your intelligence, and you can't do it with your eyes closed. That's not to say that they're perfect. There's plenty of strange choices and unclear or genuinely just misleading design, made only worse by the oversized move list. Why does stabbing get you through waterfalls? Excuse me? All the platforming challenges don't seem to be designed with the grapple or the swing in mind, so you can easily trivialize them. Not that I'm really complaining, the platforming kinda sucks. All that said, I'm always gonna take this over the standard AAA puzzle that's focus tested to make sure literally every human on the planet can solve it within 3 seconds. Yeah, these puzzles aren't always fair, but at least they're always interesting. Easily one of the best parts of the game. Occasionally, you'll run into a memory from the past you can watch with the Vision helmet? Vision? I don't know. It's a cool idea, but it's rare for it to actually point you towards anything worthwhile. Usually, it's just NPCs yapping about nothing. In a better game, you'd call that world building. Not like when the few times it is a secret is very rewarding anyway, since nearly all the weapons and armor you find are 95% the same because they all have nearly identical stats. The highest deviation weapon to weapon is within a couple skill levels. Said skills don't even do anything unless you hit the level 5, 10, or 15 breakpoints, and they also apparently don't do anything for your weapon if you put them in your gloves or boots. None of this is ever explained, by the way. A lot of the Abyss gear system is locked behind a bunch of quests for the witches, and you just honestly don't need to bother. Your best bet is just socketing in the stuff that adds effects to the moves themselves, and you can mostly ignore the rest of the skill system unless you want some extra move speed. There's basically no difference between the sword that you get for killing the final boss and the sword the first blacksmith will sell you. Every unique weapon with some special effect can just have that effect slapped on to anything else with zero difference. This applies to nearly all the armors too. It's good for fashion since you can always just use whatever you think looks cool, but it's terrible for making loot feel exciting. Especially when you've already landed on a look you like, you have nothing to gain from exploring. While we're on the topic, the dyeing system itself works well enough, but you have to unlock pieces of the color palette by finding or buying the dyes. That would be fine, but each dye color is limited to a specific person in the world. So if you want to dye something red, you gotta go travel all the way to the red dye guy. Blue can only be done at the blue dye guy. That is genuinely baffling to me, but at least the dyes themselves are a rare example of an exciting piece of loot that you can actually find outside of quest rewards. This is because almost all the unique loot comes from quest rewards, and said unique loot usually isn't really. There are a small handful of genuinely good rewards for some quests, like the mining drill that automatically picks up what you mine. That didn't do that on launch, by the way, that came out in an update. There's thief gloves that let you steal something for free every 30 minutes. And there's like, that's it, that's kind of it. There's those boots that give you more grip on ice. I think there's a chainsaw you can get later that auto picks up wood. For as big as this game is, and for as long as I played it, I should be able to list more than 3 or 4 rewards that I thought were good. That's fucking crazy. Oh, what do you mean you don't want a necklace that changes the weather in a game where the weather doesn't matter? Oh, you don't want a pittance of stamina on a 30-minute cooldown? No, I don't. I don't want that. They just aren't exciting. 99% of the loot is just garbage that fills up your limited inventory. Maybe you just won't loot bodies or chests. Well, you better not have a pet either, because they're gonna be constantly picking up garbage for you as well. Another vector for inventory bloat is the quest items. When you finish a quest, all the items for that quest stay in your inventory. Every document, every poster, every book, everything. And all of them take up individual slots in your limited inventory. So you're gonna have to periodically go through and drop a bunch of papers to make space. It's not just your personal inventory that gets bloated though. Even your personal storage chest, which wasn't in the game when it came out by the way, will get random garbage thrown into it whenever you complete a large enemy outpost. You just can't avoid it. One of the reasons game designers sometimes want to limit player inventory is to make it impossible to bloat your inventory to the point that it becomes hard to parse through. Pearl Abyss chose the worst of both worlds here. Not only is the current cap of 250 items way too much to be easy to deal with, it's also way too little for all the junk you're gonna have pushed on you. In fairness to them, there was some effort made to streamline some of the aspects of inventory management, like the radial wheel for quickly swapping armor pieces and weapons, but it's still not especially quick or smooth. You can group items by type, but the implementation is a little wonky, but it still is sort of helpful. You can sort everything in various ways. These remedial measures make it clear someone on the design team knew that inventory management was going to be a pain point. Unfortunately, despite all that, it's still pretty painful. As I was putting this video together, Pearl Abyss announced upcoming changes they're making. Among them is dedicated storage for particular types of items like armor, food, and crafting materials, and supposedly you'll be able to pull directly from these new storage options when you craft or refine items or cook food. There's a few other things that are annoying, and while they're not bugs per se, they're the kind of thing that you would hope gets addressed in a patch. Things like the challenge cubes that you find, forcing you to stare at the cube for a few seconds every time you pick it up. It's almost like there was gonna be some sort of item manipulation puzzle on these because they let you turn the cube all kinds of ways, but there's literally nothing to see. Eventually, the game will just let you put it away. It feels like a weird vestigial part of a cut system that ultimately just wastes your time. Shocker. Another strange choice is just how all the menus are laid out. Saving and loading is tucked away in the other category. Sometimes X is confirmed, but sometimes Y is confirmed depending on the menu. The game has menus nested within a radial wheel selector. There are sometimes multiple pages of radial wheels. It's learnable, you do get used to it, but it never feels good. You would expect for an open world game that it would be a little janky and more than a little buggy, but shockingly, Crimson Desert has remarkably few technical issues to speak of outside of the graphical ones I mentioned, and most of the ones that I ran into were eventually fixed in one of the many patches that they've been doing since the game came out, to their credit.
Let's talk elsewhere.
You about to get on a horse? He's gonna get on a horse. Why did his horse just throw him off? What? What the fuck? What do you mean? Oh my god. Now you could say that this game is a fair bit less dynamic than a lot of its open world counterparts, so there's a lot less potential for surprising collisions between systems, and yeah, you'd be right. That does make the game less exciting, no doubt, but it does also make it a lot more stable. I was not here? Excuse me? Be that as it may, it's worth giving Pearl Abyss some credit here. They are doing good work to polish the experience after the fact. Obviously, this brings questions like, hey, why did the game ship in the state that it did? There wasn't even a way to store items at launch, which is frankly just insane to me. They sent media outlets for review a version of the game with no way to store items. And judging from what they were saying, there were even less ways to expand your personal inventory back then. Even just by playing it, it is clear the game came in a little hot. But with as fast as they've been working to fix some of these issues post-launch, one has to wonder why this stuff couldn't make it into the launch build of the game. First impressions matter most, and sure enough, even my overall impressions are inevitably tainted by some of the poor experiences that have been or will be patched out.
Can I help you?
Stamina? Why am I just now getting the stamina tutorial? What? At the end of the day, I can't give them too much credit for promising to fix issues that I already ran into on a $70 game that I already bought and I already played. It's good that these things are being addressed, but honestly, these changes are really just sanding off the minor annoyances throughout the game. The core essence of Crimson Desert is unchanged, regardless of how many quality of life adjustments they make. Unless they rewrite the story, re-record a bunch of dialogue, and completely redo almost all the side quests, trim the fat, rework the combat, fundamentally change gear progression, and fix the in-game economy, it's not gonna suddenly become a much better game. Some people may be hoping that with enough updates, they're gonna turn this game into a knock your socks off experience, instead of the guilty pleasure podcast game. It's not like that sort of thing has never happened, but it's never happened more than once, so I wouldn't hold your breath. You may have heard someone describe this game something to the effect of wide as an ocean, deep as a puddle. This is giving the game too much credit. Crimson Desert gives you the impression early on that you're going to be constantly seeing new systems, and the implicit benefit of that impression is that you think that nothing will be repeated often enough to become tedious since the game has such a diverse well of experiences to draw from. I mean, there'd be no reason to reuse content if you just have more new content to use instead. This is not accurate, at least not after the first few hours. In fact, basically every system the game has is introduced to you, sometimes more than once, in the first area within a few hours of starting the game.
Look, bounty notices. Guards just plastered them all over the place. Free swords at the tavern say they're getting a nice bit of coin for them.
Why are you talking like I don't know what this is? Like I haven't been. This is the first thing I did.
Fill our own bloody pockets.
This is literally the first thing I did to make money in this game. Let's break these down so that you see what I mean. There's hunting the legendary animals, which just involve you going to the marker on the map and hitting them with your sword until they die. That sounds reductive even to me, but that's exactly what happens. There's literally no hunt. It's just another box to tick. Some of the animals get turned into decorations for your sad little cabin. Some are actually unlocked as mounts, but they're a gimmick. The only legendary animals worth going after are the horses. The rest of them are slow, don't level up, and don't have any customization because they're not horses. So we can basically throw out that entire category of activity. Honestly, the fishing, no one's gonna talk about how much they enjoyed it. It's the bare minimum. Pearl Abyss didn't pay much attention to it, so neither will I. I will say though, there are way too many fucking quests to catch a northern pike. That's fucking insane.
Folks say the river by the village is fresh and fair with plenty of fish. But no matter how I try, I can't catch a single one.
As long as it's not a northern pike, I don't care. Just don't be a northern pike.
A few for me, if you don't mind, of course. My heart aches with them lying there. Please,
help me?
Please don't be a northern pike. Please don't be.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Dude. Fine, fine. You know what? I got one.
You found
know
the
why I have
fish?
one? Because there's a fucking fourth quest that needs the northern pike.
Such fresh fish.
Dude, they
I'm sure
really be
it'll bring them
phoning
back
in
to
these
health
side
in no
quests. It's
time.
actually crazy.
Please, take this.
At least
A small
ask me to get a
token for all
different
you've done.
fish. At least so I can, like, see a different fish when I catch it. Like, oh my god, dude. There's what I would call diversions, stuff like the arm wrestling and the various contests. I think the game calls them mini games. These are mostly pretty trivial, but honestly, they're fine as far as content goes. There's very little reward for doing them, but they don't overstay their welcome and they're a fun distraction. The 2 shooting contests in particular, though, are crazy hard, especially if you're on controller. I had to bust out the keyboard and mouse to even have a chance at beating the champion for these. It's wildly overtuned, but that did make it kind of fun. That's impossible. You can't get that one.
Let's go!
Perfect.
Jesus Christ, why is that so hard? Now, Duo is peak card game within a video game. Gwent, Caravan, Triple Triad, take a seat. It is no exaggeration to say that the most fun that I had playing Crimson Desert was sitting at this table playing Duo. It's the only thing that I like more than the puzzles. Raise. Oh boy, here we go. Raise. You fucked up. You fucked up. The various hands are pretty hard to memorize, but it's a whole lot of fun because there's so much known information. It's like poker, but if everyone's hand only had 2 cards and one of them was publicly known. There's 2 sets of 1 to 10, a yellow and a red, so there are a lot of instances where you can rule out certain hands because your opponent is posturing like they have a pair or something when you know that full well they don't have one because you have that other card. It's a shame because the game gets compromised when someone cheats, like pretty much every game ever. Obviously, you can cheat, but it's RNG as to whether or not you get caught, so I don't usually bother unless it's really important that I win that particular hand, and I'm also not too pressed if I happen to lose everything by getting caught. The real problem is when the AI cheats. For one, if you don't know the tell, you're gonna get rolled because everyone at the table is going to be cheating constantly. If you do know the tell, suddenly winning becomes a foregone conclusion because you just have to stay in the game long enough to catch someone cheating. Then all their money gets split across the rest of the table.
Anyone cheats, they die. Clear.
Oh my god, he literally just cheated. You're a hypocrite.
Cheat in this round and you'll learn the consequences.
Even with a full table, catch 3 cheaters and you automatically win the entire pot. Unsurprisingly, this is also the best way to make money in the game. Duo is good before you have much money to speak of, but 5 card, a different and worse version of the game that isn't as fun, has a buy-in at 150 silver per person. So at a full table, you catch the 3 cheaters and you made 450 silver. Nothing else in the game even approaches that in terms of earning potential. What is happening? Are you guys insane? Are you guys fucking crazy? What the fuck is going on? Why are they all going all in? Bro doesn't even have anything. Oh my god. One of the biggest secondary systems is the camp management. Eventually, you gain the ability to send out some of your guys on missions to complete certain tasks or gather resources. There's a ton of possible jobs you can send them on, and almost every location on the map has something they can do, but there's no point in having them do almost any of it. All the various camp resources are locked into the camp ecosystem, so you have very little way of making anything these guys do directly benefit you in any way that matters. All this mechanic is really for is just to time gate some of the quest completions. The whole thing is just making these numbers go up. It's so detached from everything else that you can almost ignore it completely. And if you did, your experience with the rest of the game would be like 95% the same. There's just no meaningful payoff to bothering with this stuff. A related mechanic is the trading system, where you can fill up a wagon with cheap goods and take them somewhere else where the price is higher to sell for a profit. For some games, this is the main gameplay loop. This kind of thing should be fun, but it's completely undermined in this game because the wagons control like shit, break into a million pieces if you sneeze on them, and the list of goods that are bought and sold is so small and the price variation region to region is so little that there's barely any profit to be made doing this at all.
Oh, Cliff, my friend. My hero. My walking coin purse. We made a bloody fortune, didn't we? Eh? Yeah, at this rate, we'll be the founders of the fucking Greymane Trading Company.
I made extremely little.
I'll bury you like the dog you are.
I made... What the fuck? I made 11 copper per pepper, which is fucking nothing. Not to mention that this only makes the camp money, not you. That would be a stronger indictment if money actually mattered in this game, but once you break out of poverty and have some silver to your name, there's very little to actually spend your money on. There's basically no aspirational purchases to speak of. No super cool, expensive item that you really want to save up for. The main thing you use your money for is buying food ingredients and crafting materials. Beyond that, it's basically only used for research projects, which is yet another system that struggles to make its mark on the game. There was definitely potential here to make some of these rewards really cool, but they often just amount to unlocking crafting recipes for some incrementally better version of something you already have. There's also the projects that you need to put the last few points into your stats, but again, it just doesn't fucking matter. It'll be so late in the game by the time you have this, you won't even appreciate having that little bit of extra health or stamina. At that point, you're already a god. What about the contribution shop, I hear at least one of you saying? Well, for those who are unaware, the contribution shop is a store that accepts good boy points that the local government gives you for completing quests. There's very little in these shops, and they basically amount to a couple of sets of armor. What's crazy though is that the contribution level is capped at 100, and the stuff in the shop adds up to way more than 100. So if you wanted all or even just a lot of this stuff, get fucked, I guess? We've mentioned how there's not a lot to spend your money on, and another game system that wants your money is the investing mechanic. Basically, it's a bank that will either accrue interest extremely slowly or gamble some percentage of your money on a coin flip every few days. Why would you do this if it's almost as likely to lose you money as it is to make you money? I don't know. Boredom, I guess. There's nothing else to fucking do with your money. Okay, so the in-game economy is pretty cooked, but what about something like the NPC trust system they stole from Dragon's Dogma? Well, essentially, that only does two things. If you raise an animal's trust level to maximum by feeding or petting it, you get to have it as a pet, which is pretty cool, I guess, if you ignore the fact that they pick up junk. Similarly, for humans, unless you want a bunch of garbage, you're only gonna wanna raise the trust of shopkeepers, since they sometimes get one or two new items when you max out their trust. Sometimes. Some of them. Not even every time. There is no definitive way to know unless you try every type of shopkeeper and you notice like, oh, this kind never gets anything when I raise their trust. They just didn't put a reward in for that. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Get fucked. For those that do give you a reward, they also give you a supply contract to have some of their items available at your camp store. But again, why bother? The reason I bothered with this and a lot of the other systems in this game is because I kind of thought there would be some payoff, that I would be glad I did all this. That never happened.
Oh, the list is endless.
This is where the rubber hits the road. All the reputation this game has for being extremely long or having a lot of content is down to the side quests, since the main quest isn't actually quite as long as it feels, although it's still pretty fucking long, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Pretty much every side quest in this game is one of a small handful of types. A shockingly large amount of them are just talking to someone or delivering an item. Sometimes they give you the runaround by having the person you need to talk to leave a note saying something like, oh, I'm at the market, come find me there if you need me. Then you go to the market, a random NPC will blankly stare at you and hand you a note saying that the person you're looking for is actually somewhere else. And they tell you, oh, that's this guy with the green hat when you go over there, so look for a guy with the green hat. So then you go over there and the game disingenuously tells you to use the clues you've gathered to find them, when really the search area only fits 3 people, so there's not a lot of options to begin with. Plus, the person you need to talk to, if you somehow couldn't figure it out, will always have a yellow exclamation mark over their head when you shine your lantern on them, so it's not exactly Where's Waldo. Another common quest type are the bounties. They too have information that implies you'll need to actually find these people by reading the poster and looking for people that match the description. But again, the game undercuts any sense of discovery by slapping quest markers on them. You pull a poster down, your map has the person's location on it, you go to that location, the target is literally marked on your minimap, you go up to them, you tackle them, you punch them 3 times, you tie them up, you get on your horse, and you slowly ride all the way across creation to the jail while they spout the same 4 lines at you over and over again.
The whole of Hernand will hunt you down. Do you have any idea who I am? Do you mean to make Hernand your enemy? My father's cousin's dear friend is the Grand General himself. Do you mean to make Hernand your enemy? Do you have any idea who I am? The whole of Hernand will hunt you down. Do you have any idea who I am?
So many of the targets are pleading for you to let them go and to strike a deal with you that it gives you the impression that maybe there's like something you can do here, like maybe there's a choice, maybe you can actually let them go and you'll get something and maybe like some bad contribution or something. But no such deal is even possible, despite almost all of them insinuating that there is one. If you actually let them go, they just run away, despawn, and reappear back at the quest marker where you found them. When you bring them to the jail, they play the exact same cutscene every single time.
Here you are.
Go take a look. Impressive work.
That's the one. Lock 'em up.
You know, we'll run out of cells at this rate. Still, you save me some trouble. If you find more scum in the future, bring 'em here.
Here you are.
Go take a look. Impressive work.
That's the one. Lock 'em up.
You know, we'll run out of cells at this rate. Still, you save me some trouble. If you find more scum in the future, bring 'em here.
Every bounty plays out exactly like this, beat for beat. It's repetitive like the 3rd time you do it, but there's so many of them. Every time you walk into a new town, there's like 6 different bounty posters all over the place. Lest you think the juice is worth the squeeze, it isn't. All they reward you with is a small amount of money, not proportional to the hassle at all. Obviously, beyond that, they have quests that are just gather X amount of this or kill some amount of that. Those aren't particularly interesting, but they're not particularly offensive to me either.
Oh,
It's cold. How many side quests are gonna be because it's fucking cold?
I should get a fire going, but I'm nearly out of firewood.
Oh, look, another person
There's
who needs
plenty
wood.
of trees near the village, but I can't swing an axe. Not
Could
with
you
these cold hands.
possibly give me some
Sorry to trouble
firewood?
you, but could you fetch me some firewood?
Oh
The
my
smell
god.
of flames should thaw me out.
A lot of times you'll already have the items the quest giver wants, so you can complete those immediately. And while the combat system isn't amazing, it's definitely a nice change of pace compared to all the walking around back and forth that is so many of the other quests. One of the most disappointing quest types are the whodunits. These crop up occasionally, and they're ostensibly about solving a crime. You go around, gathering evidence, talking to various suspects. It almost works, but you're not actually trying to figure out the case. What you have to do is memorize all the suspects' testimonies. Then you answer a poorly worded multiple choice question about each person's testimony.
Then tell me, what did Noble claim? That seems different from what I heard before.
What? The questions don't
make
sense.
Would you like to ruminate further on this?
It's like, what did he claim? It's like, well, he claimed that the only person he told was that one guy over drinks.
What did Noble claim?
And all 3 of these are pointing to the fact that he had drinks with somebody.
He says he noticed nothing.
These are both the same thing. This is the same meaning. And once you get all of them right, the person giving you the exam will tell you who to go arrest. At which point, you will always conveniently catch them having some shady conversation that confirms their guilt. This is exactly beat for beat how every fucking quest of this kind plays out. There are at least 3 of these, since that's how many I did before I tapped out, but if I had to guess, there's probably like 5 or 6 in total. Some of the side quests are just to do one of the mini games like arm wrestling or the archery contest, and ironically, these are probably the best ones. Beat 3 guys and you get to go up against the champion. Beat them and the game is done. As of the time of writing, you can't even play these again after that. That kind of sucks. The witches have these sanctum quests where you go to a specific kind of ruins and kill a bunch of these cultists, and once you've cleared them out, you have to grab exactly 2 pieces of rubble to fix the big device. One of them is always freely accessible and the other one is always locked away such that you can see it, but you can't get to it, so you have to slurp it up with your cuckoo pot from a distance. I realize now we haven't even gotten into the cuckoo pot system, but suffice it to say, it is yet another undercooked system with a crafting grind associated with it that barely manages to make its mark on the rest of the game. Sometimes the Sanctum will have a boss fight, but otherwise the pattern is unchanged. The main crime Crimson Desert side content is guilty of is being formulaic. It would take you hundreds and hundreds of hours to do everything, but you will have seen everything the game has to offer within a fraction of that. To go back to that tired metaphor from earlier, it's deep as a puddle, wide as like a lake, but Pearl Abyss seems to think that if you swim in circles, a lake feels just like an ocean. And yet another example of an undercooked feature that makes you ask why they even bothered, there's 2 additional playable characters. Onka's inclusion is sensible enough, I guess, at least on paper. He's literally a gray main, so he's present for a decent chunk of the campaign. He doesn't show up until roughly a third of the way through the story, but he's the guy standing in the corner for basically all of the Payloon arc. He's quiet, he likes fishing, and he's really tough. None of the characters are great in this game, but Onka works a little bit better than most just because of the trope of the strong silent type working in the game's favor, since you get to offload a lot of the characterization to your audience's imagination. Damien is a different story, literally. She shows up early on and agrees to tag along with the Grey Mane since she's on the run looking for her teacher, but she pretty quickly fucks off for the entirety of that Payloon arc I mentioned, and we don't see her again until much later in the campaign, at which point her story ends just as quickly as it started.
This time, I might have actually found the thread that leads to my Swordmaster.
The first time she shows up, she's looking for her teacher. The second time, her teacher was killed off screen and she's going to kill the random no-name villain who did it.
Why did you kill my Swordmaster?
Why? Does anyone need a reason to kill?
Damn, that's Aura. So ends Damien's questline. Unlike Unka, she basically has no presence within the rest of the narrative. She shows up one more time towards the end just to get her ass kicked by the main villain. Her existence changes the story literally 0%. There's obvious potential in having like a personal revenge plotline going on. You could even have Damien undergo some kind of change. I know, I'm a visionary. Jokes aside, obviously there was no time for any of that, just like how there was no time to make these extra characters work for most of the quests in the game. For most of the campaign, they aren't available to play at all, even for side content. Whenever you can play them, you're severely limited on what you can even do. A lot of the quests are just straight up Cliff exclusive. You can have these characters tag along as a companion, which would have been the perfect compromise for these Cliff exclusive quests, but for some reason, all the same restrictions apply there too. You have to play alone as Cliff. There are 2 sections of the game where they force you to play the other 2 characters, one for each. On their own merits, they play fine as far as alternate characters go. They're mostly the same as Cliff, but there's more than a few problems with how it's implemented. For one, their skill trees are separate from Cliff's, and the points that you spend on them are mutually exclusive with Cliff's. Put another way, any points you spend unlocking skills for Damien or Unka are points that you don't have to spend on the other 2 characters. You can't play more than one character at a time, so the only thing that makes sense sense to do as a player is to respec all of your points into whatever character you're playing at the current moment, especially considering the parts where you play as Damien and Unka are significantly more difficult. So that means that there will be at least 4 respecs over the course of the game, since you have to respec at the beginning and end at both of the mandatory switchovers during the main quest. Respecs aren't free, but at least it's not prohibitively expensive to do it 4 times, but I mean, it's just poor design. You don't want people clicking every single fucking node in a skill tree that many times. It's just stupid. So if we're listing all the reasons you don't want to play these characters, for one, the gear they have to use is different and requires investment, their skill tree requires separate investment, and at the end of the day, they're strictly worse than Cliff because they have less capabilities and less options. Axiom Force and Force Palm being the 2 big ones. Obviously that means they have less combat options, but more importantly, that means they can't do any of the puzzles. At the time of writing, and yet another upcoming promised change, Pearl Abyss says that these characters are gonna get equivalent abilities in a later update. That's good, but that doesn't make them any more available to play for the quests, and it doesn't punish you any less for choosing to invest in them. And it doesn't make their storylines any better, nor their forced sections any less annoying. Could they patch all of this? Maybe. But at the end of the day, these characters play 90% the same as Cliff anyway, so I really just don't think it's worth doing this at all. This is why stuff gets cut from the final game, because when you overscope a project like this, even if everything makes it in, you're never gonna have enough time to make it all actually good, actually worth including. Like the dragon. This should be the coolest shit ever. It's a fucking dragon, but the stiff controls, wonky hitboxes, and broken attacks make the mandatory dragon ride missions some of the worst in the entire game. I'm not exaggerating. The gameplay speaks for itself. Okay, this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to just snipe it from like really far away. It's not very exciting. Why are you facing away? Why are you going in the This fucking shit doesn't make any sense. It doesn't do any damage. It just explodes right before it hits. It's fucking broken. The game is fucking broken. Is there a good reason my shit's dealing 0 damage? Look at that. To hit like the interior. My shit just does no damage now. It's actually just broken. Why are my shots dealing 0 damage? Oh, now I can deal damage. I have damage privileges back. Oh my god. I'm fucking freaking out. What is this? It's not even like, I'm not even mad that I am being put through this. Like, it's not like the experience is making me upset. I'm mad that they co-signed this, that they were like, yes, this is a literal main mission everyone has to do, and it's fucking garbage. It's unplayable. This is like some old school, like 360 era bad game shit. This is like some shit that like DSP would play, and then he'd be like, what the fuck, I can't do anything. But like, actually you can't do anything. You're actually just fucked. The game is actually just broken, and you fucking can't win until you get like perfect, insane fucking astral alignment RPG or RNG. There's also the mech, and while it's not great either, it's at least functional and only mandatory for one mission. The final arc of the story has some of the dullest gameplay, but also, honestly, some of the coolest ideas in it. The robot bugs, the evil AI overlord, the entire population all wearing mind control helmets. They have electricity here, a fucking mechanical dragon. All this stuff is cool as hell. Where was all this inspiration for like 70% of the game? Either way, the cool stuff here is squandered on a bunch of rushed missions with no characters apart from this medieval Tony Stark and his evil AI counterpart. I shit you not, one of the missions in this part of the game is literally just, hey, go clear 3 enemy encampments. Here, we'll even teleport you to them. They know it's a waste of time. Why am I doing this? Why is this in the game? The game is already way too long for its own good. The final fight has a couple of neat details, like how quickly time passes while you're fighting in the cube. This moment in the Phase 2 pre-fight cutscene is undeniably cool.
Someone else.
I exist everywhere. I am myself. I am everyone. I am everything.
Enough nonsense.
I encompass all. All flows back to me. The ache in every soul. The longing for immortality. The longing for beauty. The longing for endless power. The longing for perfect freedom. The longing for unconditional worship. I am the embodiment of every dark desire.
But the fight itself is an identical experience to every other boss fight in the game. There is nothing to separate them. Why is this different from when I fought that knight dude at the beginning of the game? It's all the same. It's all the same shit. You do the same dodge and the same heavy attack spam regardless of who you're fighting, and it always works. Phase 3 of the final boss is truly bad. It's basically the same thing as the flying section in Devil May Cry 1's final boss, but even worse somehow. You can only deal damage when you're like 3 feet from him, but then when you get 4 feet from him, he fucking knocks you away. Why are there a million rocks? One of the worst parts of a game made 25 years ago on a fraction of the budget and a fraction of the technology is somehow mogging a game made in the year of our Lord 2026 with a $133 million budget. Make it make sense. This is the least climactic thing I've ever fucking played. I can't believe how fucking dumb this is. I can't believe it. I actually can't fucking believe it. It's so fucking bad. Slowly fly towards him. The speed of smell. If there's one thing I do like about the final sequence is that after you beat the biblically accurate angel, Cliff falls into some kind of void and begins to age extremely fast. He does get pulled out by Unka somehow, but for the rest of the game, Cliff has this weathered and grizzled look. It actually looks pretty good and it suits the whole like wise, humble thing I think they're going for. Either way, it's a much better character design than the Temu Jon Snow look for sure. Crimson Desert is exactly what happens when you try to make a game comprised almost exclusively of features present in more popular games. It has a lot of Breath of the Wild's mechanics, but none of that ethos of adventure or exploration that make that game one of the greats. It has some Dragon's Dogma in it with that half-assed monster climbing, NPC gift giving, and general vibes, but it doesn't have the pawn system or a polished set of big monsters to fight. It wants to be Red Dead Redemption 2 with the camp of like-minded badasses sharing small moments together, but the small moments are fetch quests with bad writing. It wants to be so many things, and it achieves none of them. It's spread way too thin. This is the open world game. It is guilty of every crime the genre is known for. All the people who liked the last 3 Assassin's Creed games, they're probably eating good. They have another 200-hour bowl of slop they can eat while scrolling on their phone. You're gonna die someday, maybe even soon. Don't waste your limited time on this planet playing games that only want you to work down an infinite checklist of identical trivial bullshit. Challenge yourself, feel something, make memories with your friends, do literally anything else.